You know, here at Saints World, I believe in spreading news about bands that are just on the cusp of making it big time, or bands that for some reason didn't quite make it as big as they should have. And I've got a band that was out of Southern California. Yeah, I know. Justin saying talking about Los Angeles again. But this was not your typical Sunset Boulevard, Hollywood glam band. They were different. They were edgy. They definitely had an attitude, and they were just killer. But they were only together for just a couple years. You have to know about this band, and if you can find the CD, believe me, it's worth it. Who is this band I'm talking about? You got to hang out to find out. So please hang out. Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to another brand new episode of Sain's World. If you're not quite sure who I am yet, my name is Justin Sain, your host of Sain's World, also the guitar player from the band Cruella DeVille. Want more information on the band, check out some links I put in the description of this video. I think you'll dig it. So check this out. I believe in educating people on sort of the history of music in a hard rock and metal and punk genre. There was a band in the early to mid 90s that absolutely kicked ass. And they were very popular in the Southern California punk scene, but they never really made it big just for, well, obvious, reasons we're going to get to here in a second. They were only together technically 6 years, but they were only active maybe for about, maybe 3 of it. So we're going to get into this. The band was called the theexidols. And some of this I'm going to read because I don't want to leave anything out, because I'm very well versed in the band's history, but like I said, I don't want to leave anything out. So I'm going to be reading just a little bit. So the theexidols were an American rock band formed in Los Angeles, California in 1992 by the singer Gary X, or some you also know him by Gary Finneran. Keith Kessinger was the guitar player. Sean DeMott and Lance Porter were the rhythm section. And they have actually an interesting story into themselves. So, 1992, the band started to play the underground punk scene. They were quickly signed by Sony Records, a subdivision, Relativity Records. Again, it's just like a sub-label of Sony. They were quickly signed up.
Rolling on the floor, please don't step on me. Tell me how it feels to make it get down on my hands and knees.
Again, it's just like a sub-label of Sony. They were quickly signed up, and in early '94, they put out a cassette single, which I'm going to show you right here, called "Pill Popper." Not really much to it. There's one song on the CD. That's it. But it's kick-ass. So shortly after that, well, while they put out the CD single, they worked on putting together their full-length debut. It's called Social Kill, and it's absolutely brilliant in a very punk fashion. It's killer. But in between that, for creative differences, they fired Keith and got notable punk guitar player Dukedector to round out the lineup that everybody now knows as the Exidols. Even though Keith was a very important member of this band, wrote a lot of songs. They basically just built them up. A really good guitar player, and he was very very much into the Southern California, more the glam scene. That's probably why their creative differences probably came into play. Anyways, so they got Dukedector. Dukedector was from Florida. He was in a band called Disorderly Conduct, and moved to Los Angeles with a guy, Casey Chaos, who was a singer in this band with them. They were in another band, and then they kind of broke up. And then that's when Dukedector was invited to join the Exidols, and from there, it's punk rock history basically. Again, they were kind of an underground thing, but that's why I'm here to tell you guys about this band. So, after Social Kill came out, which it is right here, it is brilliant, full-length CD. It's got about 12 songs on it. It's killer packaging. It's got all the lyrics and stuff. That's what the band looked like. That is Duke. That's Gary, and that's the rhythm section. This killer band. If you can find some live clips of these guys, definitely get it, because they were in a punk way. They were killer. So definitely, there's not a lot of clips of them live, but I found them. I went down the rabbit hole, and believe me, I'm still digging out. So that's why I'm here doing this episode.
fast or slow?
You got it.
Start to the toe, as soon as go. She's trying to say, she's in a row. Nothing about it, I want to die. Oh, you know. Oh, you know. My yesterday, she wanted to die. She wanted to die. Oh, well, we are, but we are going to. She was just like me, she was feeling open. I want to die. Thought about you today. If I use your way, there is no other way to make the pain go away. Thought about you today. Hard to make you go away. No matter what you do, I can't forget all about you. Can't forget you. I can't forget you. Barbara, I miss you. Barbara, I love you. Barbara, I love you.
Unfortunately, due to creative differences and, to be honest with you, substance abuse within this band, they didn't really last long. They broke up around 1998. Again, you know, for those the last few years, they really weren't doing much. So again, I'm going to read here just a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to read here just a little bit. Again, I'm well versed in the history, but I don't want to leave anything out because there's a lot of cool things that happened, in this, to the band in this very short time. So let's see. The XL was entitled "Social Kill" was released. The first video for the self-titled track, "Social Kill," directed by Jody Weil. The Social Kill video appeared on MTV and VH1. The official single for the album is entitled "Go." The official single for the album was entitled "Go Away" and was written by guitar player Dukedector. The single received heavy rotation, radio play, in all 5 major markets in the U.S. Of course, New York, Chicago, Atlanta, San Francisco, Los Angeles. 94, Sony released a second video for the album in support of the single "Go Away" and put the band on tour. The theexidols toured throughout the United States with support acts Total Chaos, No Effects, and UK subs. In 1995, Relatively Records folded, and the band was approached by Epitaph Records and their second album, but were unable to negotiate a deal. And actually, that album's called "Who We Are," and it's actually really good. But "Social Kill" was just very, very special. It caught lightning in the bottle, basically. The second theexidols album was entitled "Who We Are" and was later released independently by Refuse Records. The theexidols broke up as a band in 1998 and moved in separate directions. So this is kind of where the history, a lot of bands, they just after they break up, some members just totally quit the music industry. Well, Gary had a substance abuse problem, which we're going to get into later because it was fatal. Dukedector, guitarist Duke Dector was picked up by RCA Records and toured with alternative artist Tim Skold. Tim Skold was in the early '90s, late '80s, early '90s. He was in the bass player turned lead singer for Shotgun Messiah. I actually love that band. Tim Skold also formed was in KMFDM, and later was kind of Marilyn Manson's second in command, basically. Bassist and drummer Sean and Lance, this is pretty interesting, I didn't know about this, joined a band called Frosted, which featured Go-Go's guitar player Jane Weedland. I thought that was really, really interesting. Singer-songwriter Gary X continued playing his own music in his own band, Tuscarora, but in May of 2009, he was found dead in a hotel room in Van Nuys due to suicide. Again, he was just one of those troubled artists that was a genius, wrote great songs, but he was also an addict, and he just had sounded like he had some mental issues that he couldn't quite overcome. So yeah, unfortunately he left behind 3 sons. Duke Dector, the guitar player, later joined up with his childhood bandmate. Again, going back to Florida, teenagers with KC Chaos, he joined back up with him. And I thought this was interesting. In 2009, the theexidols had a song from their second album. Again, it was on Who We Are, called "Fuck Everyone." "Fuck Everyone" appeared on the television series Rescue Me. It was a U.S. TV series starring Dennis Leary. I thought that was kind of interesting too. But again, this was a very, very important underground punk band from the Los Angeles area. First of all, punk bands in Los Angeles kind of get a bad rap because, a lot of people say, oh, what do people in Orange County have to complain about? Like, their lives are so hard. Well, occasionally you'll have one of these bands that comes up from the Los Angeles underground punk scene that absolutely kick ass, and this is one of the bands, and that's why you guys, please check this band out. They were just killer, just really cool live. They didn't have any special effects. I mean, they were a punk band. Didn't have any special effects. Didn't have any huge stage shows. They basically showed up with basically Les Paul, Marshall, plug it in and kick your ass, and that was the theexidols. Gary was a great front man. Not the best singer in the world, but I thought he kicked ass. Duke, great guitar player. Keith, his importance cannot be understated as far as bringing this the band up. Rhythm section was just killer. Kind of, again, guys you wouldn't really very unassuming guys, but very very important in this band. So please, if you guys can, look this band up. Yeah, just killer band. That's all I have for this episode. Hopefully you guys check this out. So until next time, guys, stay metal, stay rad, keep it heavy, and until next time, love you guys. See you guys very, very soon.